Hi there, I'm Cheryl, and today I'm going to show you how to make this card. We have a couple different techniques I'm going to cover, and one is how to make your own ribbon. Do you think this is interesting? I do, because it's crinkly, it has some color variation in there, and I'll show you how that was made. And then our Heartfelt Blooms stamp here is has little color variation in it, and I'll show you how I did that too. Let me tell you what you're going to need. And you need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, 8.5 by 11. Right, 8.5 by 11. How about 5.5 by 8.5? Score it and fold it at 4 1/4. And we'll need some Always Artichoke. I've already pre-cut all of my things that needed to be die cut. And you'll need a piece, it's about 3.5 by 2.5, but if you have small scrap pieces that your dies will fit on, then use those. And we'll be cutting this from a piece of Whisper White, and let's see, I think I need a piece that's like 5.5 by, no, this is the one that's 4.5 by 2 3/4. And then I cut this die cut out. Isn't that beautiful? This, I need a piece that's 5.5 by 2 3/4 to cut that piece. This piece of designer series paper, and that came from the Delightful Daisy designer papers. And this is the back side of it. And then we also need a piece of sweet Sugarplum, and this is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. I don't think I told you the size of this. This is, I don't know what size it is. I didn't write it down. Luckily I have a ruler right here. This is 3 3/4 by 5. But all this will be listed down below. So don't make yourself crazy about sizes. Okay, we're using the Heartfelt Blooms, using this stamp right here. And then from the Amazing You, and this is part of the celebration, these are, it has the stamps and then the dies. And let's see, I believe it was, yes, here it is. It's on page 16 in the celebration, 16 and 17. And the stamp set is free with a $50 purchase, and the dies are free with a $100 purchase. So for a $150 purchase, you would get both of these for free. So that's in the celebration. That beautiful big die, that's from Heartfelt Creations. It's called the Decorative Medallion, and it's this one right here. It has another one that's equally beautiful, but we're not using that today. And then from the Lots of Labels framelits, I used the second to the largest die to die cut that piece that I showed you. We're going to need some Tombow. I've got my Snail Adhesive out here. I have a sponge. I don't want that sponge. I have little sponge daubers. We're going to use those. And I have a piece of seam binding. It's white rayon 1/2 inch seam binding. And I got this huge, absolutely huge, that's all seam binding in there. Roll of it is under $11 on Amazon. I'm going to show you how you can custom color this to match any project. Won't that be wonderful? Okay, and then the inks we're using: Old Olive, Sweet Sugarplum, Wisteria Wonder, and Always Artichoke. So let's get going on this. I'm going to show you how to do the ribbon first, because that's what you would want to do first, because it needs drying time. So let's see, let me get my Always Artichoke out here. And I'll need a little water. I have a water spritzer here, but you don't need a water spritzer. You could use anything at all to add water to this. I'm going to put just a little bit of this, the ink from the pad out on my my mat here. This is a silicone mat. If you don't have a silicone mat, then anything non-porous that you have that you could work on will work fine. I'm going to add quite a bit of water to it. I'm going to wet my ribbon also. Get my ribbon all wet. Well, my seam binding actually. But we'll be using it like ribbon. And we're just going to dunk that in there and just get that all covered. If you don't want to have green fingers, you might want to have gloves. Put a pair of rubber gloves on. But I really don't care if my fingers are green or not. And I'm going to just take that and bunch that up in a little ball, like so. And we're going to set that aside, and you're going to let this dry, and it probably will take quite a bit of time to dry. Now let me wipe that up so we don't end up with green all over everything. Clean my fingers up a little bit. People will think I have some kind of disease with my green fingers. Okay, but through the magic of video, my ribbon is dry already. If you think you're going to blow dry it or with your heat tool, don't do that, because your heat tool will actually melt the rayon, which is whole nother technique for crinkling ribbon. But look how pretty that is. It's all crinkly, and then the color has settled down into certain areas, so it's like a variegated color on there. Okay, let's get going putting this card together. I need my card base and my sweet sugar plum, and I'm just going to take my Tombow here and put some on the back. I'm going to put this, I'm like putting it a little off center. So I want just a little bit of the whisper white to show on the top side and the left side. I want a wider border. On the right and on the bottom. And then we'll put our piece of designer paper on there. And I'm going to line that up. Oop, I want it to go the other way. I want my leaves facing up. I'm going to just line that up. Match that up with the top left corner. So now we have a nice little bit of our sweet sugar plum showing. Okay. And then any place I can find a large area to put Tombow on this die. There's not a whole lot of them, but just here, there, and everywhere. Okay, and then I'm going to put that. Oops. We'll put that right here. Just so it overlaps. You see where I have that? Okay. So now it's time to let's make our tag. So I have my stamp already mounted on a block here. And I'm going to start with my sweet sugar plum. I've got my Wisteria Wonder and my Old Olive here also. I'm going to open those two up. And I'm using this technique because I just want a little bit of color other than the sweet sugar plum on here. There are other methods of doing this. If you wanted more of the color, then maybe you'd want to sit and color this in with a marker, or I don't know. whatever you might want to do. So I'm going to take one of my daubers. I'm loading this up with the old olive, and wherever I think I see leaves, I'm going to add a good amount on there. So we're actually using this dauber kind of like a stamp pad. And I think that's about it. Okay. So now I'm going to take the other dauber, and I'll get some of my Wisteria Wonder, and I'm gonna get these little round flowers. I'm gonna give them a little bit of a purpley color to them. And then now, because we've been playing around with this, I'm gonna huff on it. I'm gonna give it a good huff. And I'm gonna stamp that on my tag. 1, 2, 3. Let me close up these inks. Get them out of our way. And there we go. Look at that. Oh, this got even more color than my original one. I love it. I love it. Look at this. Oh, it's so pretty. This stamp is just fabulous. This is another one that's a free thing in the celebration. That's on page 4 with a $50 purchase. So might want to just keep that in mind. This is some kind of new technology they've used. Okay. Oh, and I want also around the edges here, I want to, with my old olive, I want to add a little, just a little sponging on the edge. Just adds a little something to it. I think the edges on the tags, if you leave them just white, sometimes they look a little raw, and this kind of just blends them in with everything. I'm going to be attaching that right here like this. But before I do that, I'm going to just bend the edges up a little bit. I want to just a little distress, not a whole lot. And I can just put some tape on the back here. I'm going to put that at a nice little angle. Just like that. And then we're going to add these. You know what? Let me put the ribbon on first, just in case I want to overlap the ribbon like I did on my sample card. You see that? It went right over top the ribbon. Okay, so let me bring my dry ribbon in here. And this is how you do this. You just leave yourself a bit of a tail. It's like maybe 2 inches here. Wrap your piece around your 2 fingers. You go down in between. Bring it up. And we're going to tie these 2 ends together. This is where it gets a little tricky. And when nobody's watching me, I do hold one end in my mouth sometimes. But since you're watching me, I'm not going to do that. I'll just fiddle with it and get it done. You want to get that pretty tight. And we want one end shorter and one end longer, because one will go across the top here and one will go down the bottom. So let me just fiddle around with that a little bit, get that all how I want it. And I'm going to just use some snail. A lot of times I'll use glue dots, but I want to be able to position this and have it stay right where I put it. So I want that there. And my bow out like that. And then this piece I want it to come down this, just kind of drape down the side here. So I'm going to put a little bit of snail. Let me bring this up so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put just a little bit of snail. Oh, got to hold it right. I'm going to put a little snail there. And then just press my ribbon in place on the snail. Okay, so that's where that is now. And we'll trim the ends. I could do a prettier cut than that. There we go. We'll trim the ends. Now we'll put this on. Now I didn't put anything on the inside because I haven't decided just yet what this person I'm going to give the card to is amazing for. So it could be a lot of different things. It could be because they did something nice for you, or maybe they may have some big accomplishment. Could be a birthday. And I'll put that right there. See, I did overlap the ribbon a little bit. I might with this one too. This one's a little tricky. Let's dab that Tombow on there. You don't want a whole lot on there. You don't want it to ooze out. But you do want enough to hold your little die cut here down. So there's that. And see, that one's overlapping the ribbon too a little bit. Stick those all down. And right now it just says, "You amazing." So we need to get the stamp out from that stamp set. It says, "You are simply amazing." That's what we wanted to say. And I'm missing the stamp. Uh-oh, that's not good. I have a funny feeling that I had kitties on my table playing with my stuff again. Let me just do a quick scan around on the tabletop. And nope, I'm not seeing it anywhere. So we're going to pretend. We'll just pretend that I have... Oh, I see it. I see it. Gee whiz, how the heck did it get over there? Okay, there we are. I have my you. So we have you, and we have simply amazing. Oh man. These little kittens, well, they're hardly even a kitten anymore. They're like a year old now. My dog is yelling at one of them. It's probably the one that hid this. They are just into everything, and they love my shaped flowers. They chew my shaped flowers. Okay, well, there we go. Now it's "You Are Simply Amazing," and I stamped that in the Always Artichoke ink, and our card is finished. So if you've enjoyed watching my video, I'm so glad. Hit that like button down below so I know that you liked it. If you want to see more of my videos, hit subscribe. If there are any Stampin' Up! Products that you'd like to purchase, then you can do that either through my Facebook page or my website, and that would be wonderful if you chose me to be your demonstrator. And as always, I'll have everything listed down below that I've used here today. And I'll put the link for this if you're interested in this. But I just think it's a wonderful way. I try to get in my ribbon, all my ribbons, I try to get white, and mostly white in all the you know, and all the styles that I like, because with the Stampin' Up! Inks, you can just color them to match any of your cards. It just coordinates with everything then. So, y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.